Hi, Dave from Action Shooters, and today we're going to go over grip and stance. I'm going to talk about stance first, which will then continue with everything else we're going to do. With our stance, there's been a couple different ways people have done this through time. What we like here is what's called the isosceles stance, or just the neutral stance is the way I like to look at it. First and foremost, your feet. I like to tell people to just stand naturally. What we see a lot of problems with is people try and do all kinds of weird things with their feet. They stand in line, they're too wide, they're trying to brace themselves. We don't need to do any of that. I like to tell people to just stand naturally. It allows us to be a little bit more balanced and fluid if we need to be. Another big problem I see is that people have a tendency to either grossly over-exaggerate their back, either front or to the rear. Now, I know for new shooters this sometimes happens because you're not used to the recoil or muzzle rise of the pistol, so you may get moved around a little bit, but just try and stand as straight as possible and maybe just a slight lean forward. We don't need to do anything else, and we don't need to do any of the older style stances where we're kind of squatting down and all that stuff. We don't really need to do that for a pistol. So all I want you to do is just stand naturally, and what you're going to end up doing in the end is bringing the pistol straight up to your eyes, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, just stand naturally, straight towards the target, and bring the pistol straight up to our eyes. We don't need to hunch over, we don't need to lean back, we don't need to do any of that. So, next we're going to talk about grip. I believe the two are what are called passive, which means we both just start doing them once we're used to doing them and it's muscle memory, or a trained response. So, the way I like to teach people how to grip a pistol, left or right-handed doesn't matter, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's kind of what we call the universal grip. So, what you want to do is identify the backstrap of the pistol. So what we're going to do is take our dominant hand and just put it as high as we can on the backstrap of the pistol. And at this point, keeping our finger straight and off the trigger, remembering that safety rule as well. The key to this is what we do with this empty part of the pistol, this empty side. Now, what I'm going to do is have my fingers interlaced between the knuckles, and I'm actually going to roll my hand to make a full 360-degree grip, and I'll show you from this angle as well. And I'm going to roll my hand into place. Now, if we look at it from this point of view, I have a full 360-degree grip, and the only part of pistol you can see is the slide above it and the magazine below it. And that's going to give us as much control as we can possibly get on this thing. Now, if we're a lefty, I'm a righty, just how I did it, I'm going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So, left hand is my dominant hand, get as high as I can on the back strap, keep my finger straight off the trigger. I'm going to take my right hand in between the knuckles and roll it to cover up the empty space in that pistol. And again, I'll show you from this angle. So, full dominant grip, I'm going to roll my hand into place, covering up that grip, and I have a full 360-degree grip. It's a universal grip. Left or right hand doesn't really matter because it's about control of the pistol. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching.